guys, Redneck Mini 14 here. Today I want to talk about woods guns and what I consider to be a good woods gun. Now, woods gun, that's kind of a term I use quite often on this channel. A woods gun can mean several different things to several different people. So depending on who you ask, it could be a different type of gun. But what I consider to be a woods gun is a gun that you don't necessarily use it to hunt. In fact, you don't even necessarily to use it while hunting, but it's a gun that you usually carry with you on your hip or on your back. It could be a rifle or a shotgun. Typically, I consider it to be a handgun of some sort, but basically a gun that you're using as a defensive tool or possibly a hunting tool when you're going through the woods or you're just walking around on your property, like if you live out in a rural area and you're on, like you live on a farm or something like that, or a ranch. Just kind of a gun, a handgun that you carry with you. So I've carried several handguns when I was hunting that I would consider to be woods guns, and also just walking around the farm, while I'm fishing or while I'm hiking through the woods or cutting grass, stuff like that. And I've carried several guns over the years, so let's just take a look at some of the guns that I consider to be good woods guns. Alright, so here are a few guns that I have either used out in the woods or I've bought with the intentions of using out in the woods. Haven't used all of them quite yet. All of these, with the exception of maybe one, would be a good choice for a woods gun. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're all the best choice, but they're pretty much all good choices. Now, I just actually noticed that they're all only made by two manufacturers, Ruger and Smith & Wesson. That's just kind of a coincidence, but those are two of my favorite handgun companies. So just, kind of a coincidence that it worked out that way. I do have other handguns, but anyway, so going down the line here, we'll start here. This is the first gun that I used out in the woods when I was hunting. I never took a shot at anything with it. In fact, I've only taken a shot at anything with one of these guns, and I'll explain that one in a minute. But when I first started hunting, the first year I was hunting, I carried this Ruger Mark II. It's a 22 long rifle. No, it is not ideal. And in fact, it's kind of illegal in some states. And you shouldn't use a 22 as your main defensive gun or your mercy shotgun or whatever you're using your woods gun for. This was just the only handgun I had in the house at the time. I wasn't 21. I couldn't buy my own pistols. This is my mom's gun, so I just carried that because I wanted to have a handgun on me when I was hunting, just in case I came across a coyote or a rabid animal, something that might pose a threat. Not that it's a very common thing, but you never know. So I started off with this. The next gun that I personally have owned that I used in the woods is this Smith & Wesson 5904. I bought this several years ago, carried it in the woods while I was hunting for I think 2 seasons, and never took a shot at anything with this gun. I've put 250 or so rounds through it just at the range, and it was a good shooting gun. But when I was out at the farm, I had some hollow points loaded up, which is what I carry when I go hunting, and I took a shot at a snake with this gun, and it jammed, and I was like, what the hell? So I took a few more shots, and it jammed a couple more times. So I kind of took this one out of the running for my woods gun. Maybe it was just the ammo or the magazine that I was using. I haven't really tested that ever since, but since then I haven't carried this gun in the woods, but I'm not going to necessarily rule it out in the future if I can get this gun running properly with good carry ammo. Let's go to the top. So the first one of these guns that I carried in the woods would be this P89. This is a 9mm, has 15 round magazines. I also have some 17 rounders, although it can only hold 16 rounds in them for some reason. But it is a 9mm, and I carried this one and another one just like it in the woods for maybe 2 seasons, a season and a half maybe. I do kind of go back and forth between some of my guns, and it's been a good gun, good reliable gun. Every time I take it to the range, it's a very good reliable gun. So I would definitely trust this gun. I would trust my life to this gun. To the left of it, we have my P97. This is a 45. I did buy this with the intentions of taking it out hunting. As a woods gun, I have not done that because one year I was hunting with my Marlin 336 and one of my other P89s, the one with the Cerakoted slide and the blued controls, and it rained a lot during that hunting trip, and I actually got quite a bit of rust on my 336, a little bit on my P89, but it just kind of opened up my eyes, and I decided I really didn't want to use this nice blued gun because this, it doesn't really have any rust or any kind of pitting on it at all. I didn't want to take a nice blued gun out in the woods where it could get rusty. So I decided I was either going to stick with stainless steel or older guns. This would still be a good gun to use, but I haven't used it. To the right, I have my P94. That's a 40 cal. That is a stainless steel slide gun, and I carried that this past year when I was hunting, and served me well. Haven't had to take a shot with it, but it is a very good, accurate gun, good, reliable gun, and again, I would trust my life to that gun. Underneath that, we go here. This is the gun I took when I went alternative method hunting season, and this is the gun that I actually took a shot at a deer with, and I missed, but I was able to take I actually took a shot at a deer with this gun, and I would definitely trust this gun to work if I needed it in a self-defense situation. But it's a Ruger Blackhawk, and it's basically just 6 rounds of 357 Magnum that I carry with it. It's not a very fast loading gun, but in the woods, you're talking about you only need a shot or two if you're talking about self-defense, at least where I live. I'm not going up against bears or anything. But Ruger Blackhawk or Super Blackhawk, Ruger Red Hawk if you want to go double action, all good options. Of course, there's also GP 100s and Security 6s and all those kind of Ruger revolvers. Basically any 357 44 Magnum revolver is going to be a good choice. And to the right, this is my Smith & Wesson Model 10-8. I haven't shot this gun yet because this gun has a few issues with it. It suffers from push-off, where it has a very light trigger pull, so light to where the hammer actually falls and pushes the trigger forward before you can even pull the trigger properly. If you pull the hammer back and put it in single action and then you push the hammer forward, it'll actually drop. So I need to have that checked out. But it's a 38 special revolver. Again, it falls in the same line as Blackhawk. It's 6 rounds, but it's only 38 special. But it would still be a good option for a woods gun. It would definitely be a good option for a snake gun, because you could put some 38 snake shot in it, and if you ever come across a water moccasin or something, you can just take it right out with that snake shot. So anyway, these are all of the guns, well, not all the guns, but some of the guns that I would consider to be good woods guns when you're either hunting or just walking around your property. If you're in a big open field or a woodsy area and you go hiking through the woods or something, any one of these guns would be a pretty decent option, maybe with the exception of the 22. But a 22 could still take out a coyote or a rabid raccoon or a rabid skunk. something like that. Definitely wouldn't use it against bears. But, if you're in an area like me where you don't have to worry about bears or cougars or anything like that, any one of these guns would serve you well as a woods gun. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Subscribe to my channel, like me on Facebook. I'm Redneck Mini 14, and until next time, be safe.